Boker Or, a beautiful Dvar Torah that I saw. It's brought down on the Sefer Eved Le'avdei Hashem, which was written by Arav Chaim Rebbe. He is actually a Rav, a contemporary rabbi of nowadays in the city of Cholon, and Rosh Yeshivat Ateret Chachamim. He comes and he says like this: Be'emet, im rotzim shalom bayit ben baal v'isha. If a person wants shalom bayit, betrayed by harmonious peace between his wife and his family, hareze talui harbe b'shmiat ha'ozen. It all has to do with what you hear. Because many times you have to pay attention to whether it is your wife, your children, the husband. It actually calms a person down. There's a lot of people that they have a lot of atzabim, right? They're very nervous, but all of a sudden atzabim, right? Nerves. But what happens is that you come, you listen to them. It brings simcha. So in all the sins, it's going to be covered by Ava. Uvifrat, and especially, he says, b'Shabbat Kodesh, tzarich lashkia me'od latet tzumat lev mishpacha b'shviat ozon. You have to pay attention to always listening to you, whether it's your children, your wife, your spouse. It's going to come and it's going to build, right, the house. So he comes and he says, this is very, very important. Now he comes and he explains also something like this. He says, listening is not only listening from what somebody else says. Hakshava amitit, true listening, is when you put yourself into their shoes. That's what it means to listen. When you put yourself and you try to understand what they're trying to say. When a person comes and he's margish, right? When a person comes and he feels that be'emet they're listening to him, that's a siman that be'emet you paid attention. Okay? Shabbat, right? That's what he comes and he says. That means when you're going to ask, are you listening to me? It means, no, it could be that you listened, but you didn't pay attention. Right? So he comes and he says, Shabbat, you're hearing, but you're not listening. So he says, Shabbat is a zman metzuyan lebal va'isha. So the right, Shabbat is a beautiful time for the husband and wife to come and to be mashkia, to come and to invest into paying attention, whether it's to themselves, right, to each other, to the children. During the week, everyone, people are busy, this, that. But all of a sudden it comes the time that you pay attention. Now, how is this connected to the Parashat? Because it says, right, the Torah comes and says that after Yaakov Avinu comes and he receives a berachot from his father, Yitzchak comes and he sends him to get married. Esav also goes and goes to get married. But do you realize that there's going to be a difference in the words? It says, Vayishlach Yitzchak et Yaakov vayelech paden aram, elavam bemetuel. So Yitzchak Avinu sends Yaakov, and then he goes to Padan Aram, to Lavan bemetuel arami, right? Okay, fine. All of a sudden, Vayar Esav kiverach Yitzchak et Yaakov. Right, so Esav comes and he sees, right? He comes and he sees that Yitzchak, right? He comes and he says that Esav comes and he sees that Yitzchak blessed Yaakov. V'shilach oto padan aram. Shilach. It doesn't say shelach. Shilach. What's the difference that he sent him to Padan Aram? What's the difference between them? He heard from Rav Nussbaum of Yerushalayim something beautiful. What's the difference between shelach that Yitzchak said and shilach that Esav heard? Esav heard shilach oto. Yitzchak said vayishlach shelach oto, not shilach, shelach. What's the difference? To answer this, it's a Gemara in Gittin. The Gemara in Gittin says in Daf Mem Hey, a sipur with Rav Ilish. Rav Ilish was captured and he was put into jail. What happened is that he's there and he's with somebody that understands bird language. So one day comes the Oreb, the raven, and he starts screaming something. So Rav Ilish comes and he tells the guy, what is the bird saying? Right? So the person comes and he says, Ilish barach, Ilish barach. Ilish should run away, Ilish should run away. Right? So Rabbi Kiva Eger comes and he says, why is it? Because some people want to bring a proof from there that Rav Ilish did not understand bird language. But Rabbi Kiva Eger comes and he asks, 1 second, why is it that Rav Ilish needed this guy? He knew bird language. He was a Baki. There's many Gemarot that he's the proof that he knew it. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, the Rosh Shiva of Mir, comes and he answers. He says something incredible. You hear what you want to hear. And therefore, Rav Ilish heard Ilish Barach. But he comes and he says, 1 second. Usually the raven says false things. And I'm hearing something, right? That was by the Orev. That's why afterwards he sent the Yonah, right? By Tevat Noach. Now what happens is, all of a sudden, what's going on here? I'm hearing something. So he went and he purposely asked the other guy, what is he saying? When he hears that the other guy has no interest that Ilish, he didn't even know who Ilish was. He just said, this is what he's saying. So he comes and he says, the fact that the other guy came and he told him that, he went and he said, now I know that this is really what he said. Why? Because I don't want to hear, I want to hear that you should run away. But that's what he did, and he succeeded. The milah shilach, mashma'uta is, shalchu oto shelo al menat lashuv. They sent him away that he'll never come back. The shilach, that's shilach. Where do you see that? Just like when a person divorces his wife. When a person divorces his wife, it says in the pasuk in Devarim, Kaf Daled Aleph, v'shilecha mi beto. She's going to send him away from his house. He's sending her away. But when you send somebody away to come back, you say shelach. Yitzchak, he went and he sent him away for a short period of time in order to come back. But when he only heard that Esav heard, he sent him away forever. That's why was Esav wanted to hear. He sent him away forever. So Esav heard shilach. Really, Be'emet, Yitzchak said shilach. I'm just sending him to go get a wife and to come back. Right, that was the difference between them, right? So he comes and he says there were two different stories. One story was of Shimon Yaakovson, was the older brother of Rav Yaakov Yaakovson. He comes and he says, and the long time he was like a choser of the Rebbe Milubavitch. So the Rebbe Milubavitch used to come and he used to give shiurim, and then he used to come and he used to actually, translate them and write them down and everything. So what happened was that he comes and he says something incredible. They went and they said, how do you remember what he said? He said sometimes he would come and speak 5 or 6 times over Shabbat and Yom Tov, but afterwards he would come and be able to read the entire thing over word for word. How do you do that? How do you do that? So he says, so he went and he answered like this. He said, why is it that children remember more than adults? What does that mean? He says, you could come and you could tell an adult, listen, this is his name. Very good. You forget about it. You forget what the name is, where the guy come from. You could forget very, very easily, even after 30 seconds. But for a child will tell you, I remember that I went to this place and I was there and this was there and I saw him there. And how could a child remember what's going on? So he comes and he says, the reason why is ga'ava. Yeah, chaval. He comes and says, ga'ava. What is ga'ava? He comes and he says, every single time somebody comes to you, you already put your own de'ot, your own ga'ava into the picture. And therefore you come, you're putting your mind into him. So now he comes and he says, a child has no tfisot. He's nothing which came beforehand. He's niyar chalak, right? He's complete white paper. You could come, you could touch, and he absorbs it. That's why it's so important, the chinuch, at such a young age. So therefore he comes and he says, when I come and I'm listening, if I would come and the Rebbe or somebody is going to come and give her the Torah, and I'm going to put my own 2 cents into it, I'm going to forget. I'm not going to be able to remember word for word. But if I come and I'm like a child, that anything that he says is exactly what I'm going to give away. I just connected it here and I just connected. No. I heard something, it's 100%. All of a sudden, now I'm like a child. I'll be able to come and be able to say everything exactly word for word. The second story, which is a beautiful one, I want you guys to look it up. It happened on the 11th of March, 2005. Kevin Britia, I don't know how you say it in English, but Kevin Britia, he woke up in the morning and he went to the San Francisco, to the Golden Bridge. Everyone knows it's a very famous bridge in San Francisco. He basically wanted to end his life. So he comes on the other side, right? And this is the picture, right? He comes on the other side of the bridge, right? He's on the other side of the bridge. And basically he stands on top, right? And he stands on top of the pipe over there. And he's ready to basically put an end to his life. And he was going to jump. All of a sudden, another guy called Kevin Brigas, right? He was a policeman and he's going by, and all of a sudden he sees, right, that the guy's there. He runs over to him and starts speaking to him. For 92 minutes, he was there, right, ready to jump. After 92 minutes, right, that obviously there's a lot of pressure, there's metach, there's, everything. He climbed over and he decided not to do it. Now, when he got to the right side, right, to the good side, right, to the right side, to the inside, whichever one you want to call it, right, the police comes and he tells him, 1 second, tell me one thing. Yeah, we spoke for 92 minutes, right, the last 92 minutes. Tell me, what did I tell you that changed your mind? What did I tell you that made the switch, that means something, that all of a sudden something changed? And Kevin Britia came and he answered him. It wasn't that which you said, the exact opposite. It was because you listened to me. It wasn't what you said. It was because you listened. This was the first time in my life that I felt someone listened. And because that I felt that somebody listened to me, which means somebody cares about me, that I'm important, that I'm a human being, that's what gave me the strength to come and say, I want to give life a second chance, that somebody else cares and they want to listen to me. And that's what changed it. Today, this Kevin Britia, he says he became a famous orator, he's a famous speaker, and he comes and he tries to speak people about one concept, and he comes and he speaks a lot about people, one concept, hakoach shel hakshava, the power of listening, and how could it actually change the life of a human being. And therefore, what we have to learn from this week's parasha is paying attention and listening, not only just listening, chetzi ozen, paying attention and listening to the second person to feel what be'emet they are. Have a wonderful day.